realize how much saliva I produce when I'm nervous.
It sometimes has the opposite effect. I know.
That's crazy. I've only gotten cotton mouth once, and I was
What does Ruby use?
stoned.
Ruby uses cough drops.
Guadalupe-thon 2022 here at the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. And as you know, we've been at it all day. Some altares, we had Joposada, we had all kinds of things all day long. And today we're going to talk about a very special program here at the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. And it's called Grupo Animo. And of course, just to let you know that we are here at the historic Guadalupe Theater. For some of you that want to know a little tidbit, this theater was built in 1942. That's right, 80 years now. 80 years, and can't wait for the next 80. And of course, we're all excited about here at the Guadalupe Theater. And we have a special program called Grupo Animo that we have every summer. And Grupo Animo is the resident youth theater company where our students come from all parts of the city of San Antonio and Bexar County between the ages of 13 and senior in high school. And I have two very special guests here, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and what they do with Grupo Animo.
Hi, I'm Sarah Tijerina. I am a teaching artist for Grupo Animo. This would be like my third year. The last 2 years I was more of an assistant teaching artist, and so this year I will be returning again. I'm grateful to be here. Thank you, Jorge.
Hi, everybody. My name is Clint Taylor. I am a teaching artist here in San Antonio, and this will have been my first year actually teaching with Grupo Animo. But I'm also a Grupo Animo alumni from the '90s. So I'm super excited to be back here talking about Grupo Animo, just coming back home to the Guadalupe, seeing all of our friends, seeing Maya and Jorge and Jorge and Jorge and Jorge and Sarah. So I'm glad to be back here talking about the program and supporting the Guadalupe because the Guadalupe is important to me and to our city and to the world, really.
Right, so Grupo Animo first started in 1992, and it was basically a project to work with young people and to show them and how to develop a play in the style of Teatro Chicano Chicana. And I thought it was just going to be a one-year program. I started that summer. Well, it grew. And before you know it, it was like a one-year program, a full year, and then sometimes it went to 6 months. And every group that came in had the opportunity to write their own play. So with the guest directors that I would bring in and guest writers and poets, they would work with young folks, all teenagers, and they came from all over the city, from down the block to outside 410, and they would create magic. And the plays would be done here at the theater, and then as soon as the plays were over, we would take the plays into the community. We would perform at Casiano Homes, at Alessandra Pache Courts, the YMCA's, and many other places. And we got to tour also. We went to Puerto Rico one year, and we took a theater show there with the Grupo Animos. And then I left in 2000, and for whatever reason, Grupo Animo lasted a few more years, and then it went to sleep because we woke it up. Joel Settlers, who was the performing arts director here about 8 years ago, he brought back Grupo Animo, and back then it was like a small little camp, and then it grew to a 3 week workshop, and this year it's going to be a 4 week workshop, and it's going to be June. So we do recruit all year long, and but I want to talk a little bit about this past year. Um, Nicolas Valdez, also an alumni who started back in '92, is also an instructor with Grupo Animo, and he's a professional artist. In fact, all of us on this stage right now are professional theater artists. And Nicolas right now is in Dallas with Caramia Theater, performing Crystal City 1969, a play that we're bringing here in January. But basically, what we had here is we had something that happened very unique. One of our other instructors, Maria Ibarra, passed away. And so it was very hard for us. We were struggling about how to continue it. Nicholas said, no, we must continue Grupo Animo. That's when we brought Taylor in last year. Besides being a professional theater artist, he has lots of experience working with young people in the schools. And then, of course, Sara brings her youthful energy and a gifted theater artist. And so we continue with Grupo Animo, and it was very successful last summer. So let's talk a little bit about what you all did, and talk a little bit about how do they start? It's a 4-week program, so what do they do the first week? What do these young people do the second? How do you get them to write? How do you actually get them to perform? Because, you know, some people, they just want to go up on stage and perform, and others, they need a little push. How do you do your magic?
Sure, yeah. So we start off our first week with introductions. We come from we in terms of like our theater practice, Clint and I and Nicolas as well focus a lot on sort of establishing ensemble and trust, but also just getting to know each other and sort of picking their brains a little bit about what they're interested in. So we start with introductions and, of course, a tour of the Guadalupe and giving them an idea of the history of this space and specifically Grupo Animo. And specifically, Grupo Animo is unique in the way that it aims and to preserve and give a platform to Latine indigenous stories, Hispanic Chicano stories, and so we like to sort of establish, you know, our roots as theater artists as well in social justice, in issues going on around the world, but more specifically things that the students care about, so that things that directly address and impact them and their community. So.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we start off just sort of bonding, and that gives them sort of that freedom to be more expressive, you know, creatively. Um, and, you know, we give them a lot of uh, uh, free reign to write about what they want. And I think that helps because we're not just telling them they need to write about, you know, history or giving them a subject that we want them to write about. Um, the program really does work to, you know, serve the youth of San Antonio and, you know, empower them. And
Mhm.
so that's how we kind of get started. And then start developing their ideas that they come up with. Just give them the encouragement. Yeah.
You know, after every performance, because you know these 3-4 weeks lead up to a full performance, and then after the performance, we have a plática, which is a traditional teatro chicana, where audience members have the opportunity to ask questions and talk about what they just saw. A team person in theater, but also intellectual thinking, intellectual skills, because over the years they've gone after heavy
of the lockdown and of the pandemic, right? So naturally, there's a lot of escapism that youth tends to draw to, and I think that's why these students felt so inclined to talk about like this kingdom in like this totally different world, and being able to escape as a king or a queen or a princess. But in order to reel it back in, we sort of had discussions of where that was coming from. They had these natural conversations about oppression, about this king and queen that were corrupt. And so, we sort of allowed them to lead this conversation back into, okay, what are you actually talking to? Like, what sort of issues do you want to bring up? And naturally, it took a minute, but we really got to a place where these students were like, oh, like, I want to talk about, how I don't feel like I have the space to express myself freely. There are, there's houselessness issues in our community. There's homophobia. All of these things that they felt like this is what we're fighting against. This is the corruption, right? And it was just told through the lens of a kingdom, of a king and a queen, and all of that. And it was brilliant, and they nailed it.
Oh, that was great. That was so much fun. And besides issues that we go after, the thing about cultura, our cultura, and they really just are hungry for it and ask all kinds of questions. So during the process of those 4 weeks, we also bring our elders to come speak to them. Jesse Borrego, well-known international film actor, he was here this past summer having a discussion with the young folks. And so we go after all the issues, light, heavy, very heavy, but it's amazing what writing can do and working as a collective. And I know some of the groups throughout the years, they become long life friends, don't they? And in fact, the ones who started in 1992, uh, at least 10 of them are still very tight, and they're all now in their 40s, and including Clint here. And it's amazing how one summer can make a difference in your lifetime. And so if anybody's interested in joining Grupo Animo, please look at our website. And you can, in there's my email address, jorgep@guadalupeculturalarts.org, or give me a call. We start recruiting all year long, and we start in June of this year. So if anybody's interested in becoming a member of Grupo Animo for
Earlier, I was listening to Christina, the director, and she was talking about the programs and some of the programs. These she referred to them as like legacy programs. And you talk about Nicolas and um, or Jesse Borrego coming. We had Amalia Ortiz come down and talk to the children, to the students, and other teaching artists came to visit. Um, and so, you talk about legacy, and back in the 90s when this program first started, and we were, I was a teenager, and fast forward to all these years later, and these kids that started off in these programs are still supporting our youth here in San Antonio, supporting the Guadalupe, being artists, creating work. And so I think that says a lot for the Guadalupe and uh, the gente, of Guadalupe that is providing the support, like Jorge and Christina and just so many people. And so I just want to say thank you. If you've been giving, if you've ever given, donated to the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center, I just want to say thank you for supporting programs like Grupo Animo. And, keep supporting, and we'll keep serving.
Any last comments?
This is about community, right? I think like programs like this are perfect examples of sustaining and preserving community. While it is a theater program or a dance program or any of the programs that Guadalupe provides, the one thing that I know is longstanding is their efforts to hold space for community and to serve the community. That's what this is about. So I think, we would be, a lot of us come from programs like this, that serve youth, that took a chance on youth, on San Antonio youth. And I would be nothing without programs like this. So please keep supporting us, support the future of the arts and of our community. So.
All righty, Sara, Clint, thank you so much. We're going to close off this chapter of Grupo Animo, and stick around all day long. Pretty soon, we're going to have Lanier High School Visual Arts Department talking about their altares. This year, they dedicated their Dia de los Muertos altar to the children of Uvalde. So please stick around. We're going to be presenting that. And this evening, we're going to have Teatrista Ana de Luna and Roland Masuka talking about the theater arts program here, and plus also Cine Festival and Conjunto Festival, and plus many other activities. Oh, our academy, our little ones are going to also perform. You're going to have fun with that. All righty, that's it for us. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I always wanted to be in the marching band. I loved the bright green and gold uniforms and the shiny instruments. I was proud to be a jabalina.
What about joining the army?
I don't want to join the army. I want to go to college.
The army will give you money for college and books and clothes.
They're gonna send me to Vietnam.
Aren't you afraid of getting suspended?
Yeah, but I look at my little sister and I say to myself, no one's gonna hit her for speaking Spanish.
I don't want my little sister to go through all that.
This has to stop.
You're very strong, Mijita. Estás bailando. The doctor said that you would die and never walk again. If you say you can do something, you will do it, Mijita. I believe in you, mi chiquita.
Our top priority is to identify and expose the gringo. We will not try to assimilate into this gringo society in Texas. Some Mexicanos will become psychologically castrated. Others will resist and eliminate the gringo.
Recant every speech you ever made, boy. Tell this tape recorder you didn't mean what you said, them rabbits.
We used to not even be able to go to school with Anglos. Now you're talking about walking out?
Why can't I be a doctor? I'm smart. Right?
How can our people be so asleep? So asleep!
You can't lose hope!
Who needs hope? We've got the numbers. We can change Cristal overnight.
What did you say? I hope you don't die before you turn 21, because you're too stupid to survive in this world.
We need parents like you to go to the board meetings and speak up for the kids. It doesn't look like there's going to be much of anything. But the elections are coming up. And these kids are going to register more voters than this county has ever seen.
Recuerda, Cristal, whose memory still burns among the ashes of our past. Raza, remember Crystal City, 1969? You keep your English